If they running their mouth, then they looking for trouble. Ran right up in the knowledge, now they back in the huddle. See, they know we can fight, new content every week. Me and Dr. Clyde, keep on bringing the heat. Now they know that we driven, and they know we ain't quitting. Yoshi and the winner, keep on bringing the energy. Unity. See, they know we ain't stopping, and they know they got problems, and they ran out of options. If you know we got a problem, can't let it go unsolved. Bring back learner, Afrocentric history, we see tomorrow. Karma's karma, I say what I say, I hear underwater. Till I see I fall off, then I bring y'all up on note. I'm back up on my Clyde winners, 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 Clyde winners. Divine winters, Clyde winters, mind bender, Clyde winters. I'm Richard, ride with ya, master teacher, create masters, Clyde winters. Give respect to the elder, Clyde winters. I know somebody out there looking for me. I told you somebody out there looking for me. I think there's somebody out there looking for me. I think there's somebody out there looking for me.
We have to live by the law. We have to live by the law. I have not done wrong. I have not robbed. I have not stolen. I have not drank. I have not told lies. I have not stolen food. I was not stolen. I have not fornicated with the fornicator. I have not caused anyone to weep. I have not dissembled. I have not transgressed. I have not discussed secrets. I have brought no lawsuits. I am not wrong. I am not struck kill. I am not transgressed the law. I have not been hunted. Except when I'm talking about on the song. I have not made extolling. I have not bragged. I have not cursed. I have not been violent. I have not confounded truth. I have not been impatient. I have not cursed against somebody out there looking for me.
Dr. Winter's legacy is a testament to the power of knowledge and the unyielding spirit of exploration. His impact is felt worldwide, as he shares and enlightens at conferences, symposiums, and collaborative projects. His voice is a beacon in the academic world, challenging, inspiring, and always educating. His journey reminds us that the quest for knowledge is never-ending, and its impact is timeless. Dr. Winters teaches us to challenge the narratives and to learn with an open mind. As he always says, B1 is not a group, it's a lineage. Let his story inspire everybody to pursue knowledge relentlessly and to always seek the truth. Now let us welcome in the grandfather of research, the Trill OG himself, the Honorable Dr. Clyde Winters.
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? Yes. Today I decided I was going to make a live. I know I'm going to do another broadcast later this evening with the genius Yoshi Mod. But I wanted to talk to you guys about how to teach aspects of Afro-American history. A lot of people are interested in our history. A lot of people, in a sense, want to know how should I study FBA history? How should I approach it? What are some of the subjects that we should teach? What are some of the things that we need to know in terms of doing the curriculum? And so that's what I kind of wanted to do this today, because I wanted to, in a sense, provide you with some curriculum ideas that can help you, in a sense, to really understand what's going on. But first, I wanted to play this video by Yoshima the Genius. And this video is very important to me because this video deals with FBA roots. And that's what it's all about, our roots.
No need to pretend anymore. The truth is in your face. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots. Oh, no need to pretend anymore. The truth is in your face. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots. The Moors once grew from woman to man. In Europe's heart, they wanted our land. Dr. Clyde reveals the hidden past, where blackness thrived, a vivid past. No need to pretend anymore. The truth is in your face. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots. Oh, no need to pretend anymore. The truth is in your face. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots. From maroons to moors, the truth is told. Stories of strength, being black is bold. Cultures blended, histories merged. A bond of funk, our souls converge. European tales, they twisted well to hide the truth, but their plans soon fail. See, Dr. Clyde's light shines beyond bright. We the black aboriginals are righteous in this fight. Are righteous in this fight. European tales, they twisted well. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots. Face. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots.
Yeah, that's FBA Roots is by the genius, Yoshima the Genius. You know, this is what it's all about. What is it all about? What it's all about is understanding who you are, where you came from, and how you can be all that you can be. And that's what it's all about. Because, see, what we're here for is that we're here to be B1. We're here, in a sense, to stand up and be B1.
The only thing that can save you is B1, B1, B1. To fight Cage, you must stay black first.
So true. This is the way it is. You know, if you want to be successful, if you want to be B1, if you want to understand your history and culture, you have to, in a sense, understand and find out what it is that makes you you. We're FBA, Foundational Black Americans. We're unique people. And what makes us unique is the fact, in a sense, that we have always been here. Not only that, but see, we created these United States. Yes, we created these United States. The United States, the culture, you know, it's all based upon us. It's based upon our realities. It's based upon our teachings. And in fact, in a sense, that's why you need to know your history, because see, by knowing your history, it allows you to know who and what you are. And so that's why today I'm doing this presentation. And I wanted to do this presentation mainly because the fact, in a sense, is that, as I said, a lot of people are on the internet saying, what should I study? How should I learn? What do I need to know as a foundational Black American? That's what we're going to discuss in this particular live. And this live, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to discuss, in a sense, you know, a curriculum that you can use to be able, in a sense, to understand more about our history. And so, you know, it's no need to wait. Let's get started.
Okay. Towards an African American history curriculum from early 20th century to the civil rights and beyond, 1900, 1980. Yes, this can kind of tell you how, in a sense, you can structure whatever course you want to teach. This information can be useful not only to teachers out there, but also individual foundational Black Americans who want to, in a sense, understand how they should do. See, curriculum is very important because curriculum does several things. Number one, it tells you what to teach. Number two, it tells you how to teach. And number three, it provides, in a sense, the subject that you should learn how to teach and know what to teach. And so that's what we're going to talk about now in terms of towards an African American history curriculum. First of all, what you want to do is you want to understand the sense that two books that can really help you to manifest this curriculum are books that I've written over the past few years. These books include A History of Blacks in America from Prehistory to 1877. In this book, in a sense, I give you a curriculum guide. In this book, I give you ideas on what to teach. I give you lessons that you can use to teach various aspects of our history. It says up to 1877, but in reality, in a sense, it has lessons that go up to 1980. Yes, lessons go up to 1980. So you want to get this book, History of Blacks in America, from Prehistory to 1877. Again, this, in a sense, is a curriculum guide. It also has lessons. You can copy these lessons, and you buy the book, and you can copy the lessons on a copy machine, and you can hand out the lessons and the various lessons to your students, in a sense, so they can complete the assignments. The next book you want to get is The Nationality and Law Foundation of Black Americans. The Nationality and Law Foundation of Black Americans is very important. This book, what it does is that it outlines how we, in a sense, do an ethnogenesis. And what is an ethnogenesis? An ethnogenesis, in a sense, is a genesis in which there's a change of a particular ethnic group to another, from one ethnic group to another. And see, our ethnogenesis is the result of the mixing of Aboriginal Blacks, European Blacks, and African Blacks. All three groups, in a sense, were in chattel slavery. Yeah, they were chattel slaves. And see, what makes it so very important is that you've been taught a lie. And in this lie, you've been taught, in a sense, that the first Black slaves, in a sense, yes, were Aboriginals, but they never tell you about the fact that many of the earliest Black slaves were Black Europeans, and these Black Europeans were sold into slavery by Oliver Cromwell. Oliver Cromwell, he was, in a sense, a Protestant. He hated the Irish Catholics who just so happened to be Black. In fact, he massacred over 200,000 within the first 2 or 3 years. When he in a sense wanted to capture Ireland. And in addition to killing over 200,000 people, he sent 300,000 Black Jews. Yes, 300,000 Black Irish. He's got 300,000 Black Irish, and he sent them into chattel slavery in the American colonies, the 13 colonies, and in the Caribbean. And it was through this ethnogenesis, this mixing of the Aboriginal Blacks, the Black Europeans, and sub-Saharan Africans on the plantation as chattel slaves that led to who we are today. Very important to understand. This course examines the key events, figures, and movements that shaped African American history from the early 20th century through the Civil Rights Movement and into the Black Power era. Students will explore the contributions of African American leaders, artists, and activists, and how their efforts shaped the social, political, and cultural landscape of the United States. That's the description of this particular course. Week 1, the early 1900s, Black leadership and ideologies. You want to teach the students about Booker T. Washington. You want to explore Washington's philosophy of economic self-reliance and vocational training for African Americans. Discuss his founding of the Hampton Institute and his cautious approach to civil rights. Next, you would want to discuss W.E.B. Du Bois. You want to study Du Bois' opposition to Washington's ideas, his advocacy for higher education, and his role in the Pan-African movement. This is an introduction to Du Bois as an historian and a key figure in the development of Afro-American intellectual thought. But see, Booker T. Washington has to be very much a center of your discussion of this period in history because, see, Booker T. Washington, even though today, you know, we always had that debate between trying to develop the talented 10th, and the talented 10th was going to be those foundation of Black Americans. They went to college, and after they came out of college, they became teachers, doctors, and lawyers. That was a very good thing to do. But you need more than a talented 10th to really have a really solvent and, in a sense, healthy and progressive community. And so Booker T. Washington, what he wanted people to do is he wanted Black people to learn trades. He wanted Black people to be entrepreneurs, start their own businesses. And so this is very important. And this is one of the reasons why we look at Booker T. Washington better today, because see, whereas Europeans are always telling us to go to school, go to college, get a college education, we have the most educated women on the planet Earth, which are Black women. And many of these Black women have college degrees, but they're in debt. They're heavily in debt. And so what Booker T. Washington was trying to teach was, in a sense, that get your kids, get your children to learn a trade. If they learn a trade, let's say a plumber, you know, learn to be a carpenter or any of the other trades, they could take that trade and they could become entrepreneurs because they could start their own businesses. That was very important. Week 2, African-American achievements in the early 20th century. You want to look at the literature and arts. Study the works of early 20th century Black writers such as Paul Laurence Dunbar and C.W. Chestnut. During this period, there was also innovations in science. Discuss the achievements of Dr. Daniel Hale Williams. Dr. Daniel Hale Williams, he's best known for what? He's known for the fact, in a sense, that he built a hospital, and he also, in a sense, taught people how to work in the emergency rooms. George Washington Carver is very important because of the fact, in the sense, that he contributed to learning how to use the peanut. Yes, the peanut, which was a common crop among many people in the South at that time. He told people how to use that peanut and make it into various commercial projects, peanut butter, jelly, oils. So this is very important in a sense. You want to, in a sense, discuss the achievements of Daniel Hale Williams. You know, Daniel Hale Williams was a doctor. I believe he founded a hospital in Chicago, Providence Hospital. And so this is a very important time. And then you want to highlight the accomplishments of Black athletes like Isaac Murphy and Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson is known mainly for being a boxer. He was the champ. And this champ, in a sense, was able, in a sense, to give Black people a great pride in our abilities and hope for the future. Week 3, you want to discuss the Great Migration and its impact. You want to discuss the fact that after World War II, there was already Black people in the North, in cities like Chicago, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. But what happened, in a sense, is that after World War I, many Black people began to migrate from the South up to the North. You want to explore the reason behind the Great Migrations and its impact on northern cities like New York, Detroit, and Chicago. My parents and grandparents, they didn't come up here during that early migration. They mainly came up in the 1930s, 1940s, and that led to me. You also, in a sense, want to discuss in week 3 the cultural and economic changes that took place as a result of these migrations from the South to the North. Remember, this is America. This is our entire continent. So you can't compare the migrations of citizens of the United States from the North to the South with bringing in all these immigrants from Venezuela, these non-American citizens. That don't compute. You can't even discuss that. So don't even bring into this whole equation the idea of immigrants, migrant immigrants. You want to discuss the cultural and economic changes. You want to analyze how the migrations of Black people from the South to the North after World War I led to new opportunities and challenges for African Americans in the North. There's already a lot of Black people in the North, and that's why we had riots such as the riots after World War I. You see, so don't get it twisted. Don't think that all Black people were centered in the South and that was just the way we were. It was Black people all over the United States, but it was It was after World War I that many black people, through the efforts of newspapers like the Chicago Defender and newspapers in Philadelphia, New York, these black newspapers, they told people in the South about the opportunities in northern cities to work in the factories. And so many black people decided, hey, I'm going to move up north and I'm going to get that nice job and I'm going to get me a new car. Week 4, you want to discuss Marcus Garvey and the rise of black nationalism. Marcus Garvey began United Negro UNIA organization. You want the students to study Garvey's advocacy for black nationalism, his ideas about establishing of a black nation, and also how he wanted to, in a sense, promote the idea of a black culture. And in a sense, he wanted to build up a trade relationship between Africa and the Americas. It's sad to say that Marcus Garvey, he didn't really have an impact on his home. Marcus Garvey came from the Caribbean, but Caribbean people, they didn't really recognize Marcus Garvey. They didn't really see Marcus Garvey as an ideal leader, you see. And Marcus Garvey, he didn't make a name for himself in the Caribbean. He made a name for himself in the United States because in the United States, foundational Black Americans have always had an independent spirit. Because foundational Black Americans are prisoners of war. We came over here as wars. Our origins began with what? The wars with the Aboriginals. And that's when many Indians were made chattel slaves. In a sense, the wars over there in Ireland when they sent many black Irishmen over as chattel slaves. Then finally the sub-Saharan African. So the FBA has a heritage. He has a history of being a prisoner of war and also, in a sense, being a fighter. This is one of the reasons why a lot of people say, why do those foundational Black Americans always think about fighting? Why is it that those foundational Black Americans won't just go ahead and submit and allow Europeans to dominate them? Well, the reason is that we have come from a warrior spirit. We've always been fighting, so we continue to fight today. Also in week 4, you want to discuss the impact and legacy of Marcus Garvey. Discuss Garvey's influence on later black leaders, his movement, and although he was forced into exile from the United States, Marcus Garvey had a long and extended spirit of influence because it was Marcus Garvey who inspired people such as Elijah Muhammad of the Nation of Islam. It was Marcus Garvey, in a sense, who inspired other Black people to see that they needed, in a sense, to develop their own jobs, their own opportunities, and in a sense, develop their own community. In week 5, you want to discuss the Harlem Renaissance. And the Harlem Renaissance, you want to explore the fact that the Harlem Renaissance as a cultural movement to showcase African-American pride, heritage, and artistic talent. Some of the key figures that you want to discuss during week 5 is the Langston Hughes, Louis Armstrong, Paul Robeson, and other people in literature, music, and the arts. I've always really admired it. And one of my heroes is Paul Robeson. And the reason that Paul Robeson is one of my heroes is that, he was an athlete and he later became a linguist. And he played football. And these things, in a sense, have always allowed me to identify with Paul Robeson because, number one, I played football in high school and college. And in addition, in a sense, I also love linguistics. Also, in fact, my earliest researches into the history of Black people around the world were based upon comparative linguistic, research and comparative linguistic research papers. As you know, I've published I've published hundreds of research articles. I've done hundreds of presentations at various conferences around the world, and I've written over 50 books on various aspects of Black history and culture. So, what you want to do is that you want to, in a sense, make sure that you understand these people like Paul Robeson, a great actor, a great American, a great linguist. Understand their impact on literature in week 5. In week 6, you want to discuss the Black Chicago Renaissance. Yes. A lot of times we talk about the Harlem Renaissance, but there was also a cultural movement in Chicago that was Chicago Renaissance. You want to examine the Black Chicago Renaissance, focusing on the artistic and literary achievements of African Americans in the city. You want to discuss the Federal Art Project and the WPA. The WPA, which was in a work program established by Roosevelt, had a very important effect on Black people. The effect was that it put Black people to work, it gave them jobs, it gave them opportunities. You know, you can also discuss the role of government programs in supporting Black artists, like Archibald Motley, Elzea Couture, and Margaret Burroughs. You know, these three artists have played a very important role, in a sense, in the rise of not only the Harlem Renaissance but the Chicago Renaissance. You know, if you go to my website on curriculum, I have a website on curriculum, and in there I've already discussed. I have movies that I made, short videos that I made that relate to some of the artists of the Renaissance period. You know, you want to also teach them about notable writers like Richard Wright, Gwendolyn Brooks, and Margaret Walker, and their impact on African American literature. You know, Richard Wright, many people, they always see him as a New York character, but he also played a role in Chicago. And, you know, Gwendolyn Brooks, one of our ace poets, you know, she was a Chicago native. It's something in the water that makes us Chicagoans, you know, really be inspired to want to know our history, teach our history, and spread our history to other people. So check it out. Week 7, you want to talk about the early civil rights struggle. You want to analyze the significance of the Brown versus Board of Education decision and the rise of civil rights organizations like the NAACP. Don't forget, it was riots in Springfield. Yes, riots in Springfield in the early 1900s that led to the rise of the NAACP. You want to, in a sense, discuss Brown versus Board of Education, which in a sense declared that Black people should be given equality and equal education as whites. You want to also, in a sense, discuss the history and movement of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. You know, you want to study King's philosophy of nonviolent protest and his leadership in key events such as the Montgomery bus boycott. You also want to discuss the fact that not only was King in favor of Black people, in a sense, getting civil rights, he also wanted us to get reparations. He also wanted us, in a sense, to be able to build up our communities. And he also made it clear, in a sense, that we should fight to make sure that we're given equal justice and rights in this country. Also, you want to discuss the civil rights legislation. You want to discuss the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. These are very important acts because, see, in the South, because of the fact that most of the southern states have had Black majorities, and to this day, I repeat, to this day, continue to have Black majorities. There's always been efforts of Europeans, white people in the South, to keep Black people from voting. And the reason they wanted to keep Black people from voting was because of the fact, in a sense, they felt that if we voted in mass, we would take over many state governments. We would become governors, become mayors. And so it was always efforts to limit the ability of Black people to be able to vote. But when Black people wanted to vote, we voted. Next week 8, you want to talk about the Black Power movement. You want to talk about the emergence of Black Power. You want to explore the rise of Black Power movement and its emphasis on self-defense, community control, and Black political power. This is very important because, see, during the Black Power movement, foundational Black Americans saw themselves as a colonized people. They saw themselves as a people who was being denied opportunities, justice, and freedom because of our status of being colonized by white people. You want to teach week 8 about the key figures and organizations of that period. For example, Malcolm X, the Nation of Islam, the Black Panther Party, and the Student Nonviolence Coordinating Committee, SNCC. All of these organizations played important roles in Black people, in a sense, becoming freer, gaining more justice and more civil rights. Even though we have justice, civil rights, we're still prisoners of war. Because, see, just like prisoners of war are given some type of liberties within a prison, we're giving certain liberties also, but we're still prisoners of war in this country. You want to discuss the impact and controversies. You want to analyze the legacy of the Black Power movement and its impact on African American rights and identity? Yes. It was the Black Power movement that allowed Black people to be able to gain some of the freedoms that we have today. You know, it was the Black Power movement, the fear of Europeans that we were going to, fear of whites in America, that we were going to initiate a civil war and tear down the urban centers of these United States, and maybe in a sense engage in guerrilla warfare, that led them to give Black people many rights. In fact, I believe, and I'll always believe, that the only reason I was able to go to college and get at the University of Illinois was the fact that we rioted in the city of Chicago and other cities around the United States. Because of these rebellions, because of these, in a sense, uprisings, Europeans felt that they had to do something to placate us. They had to develop a middle class, people who maybe be less interested in tearing down the country, and maybe building up the country. So in week 8, you want to discuss the Black Power movement. Week 9, you want to discuss African-American achievements and challenges of the 1970s. You want to understand how we established civil rights. And not only did we establish civil rights, but there was a backlash. You know, we had the Republicans, we had the Nixon administration, but there's always been a backlash that Black people wanted to get anything because they do not. This place is based upon, you know, critical race theory. Critical race theory is made up of 3 things. 1, white people hate you. 2, white people want to kill you. And 3, white people created a system of racism, which is a race in which they're going to always be on top. And although in a sense they have this critical race theory, they do hate you, they do want to kill you, we still in a sense find ways to gain certain liberties, certain civil rights, but we don't have full justice and we are prisoners of war. But you do want to discuss the progress made in the 1960s, the challenges of institutional racism and discrimination that reemerged in the 1970s. Do you want to explore the continued contribution of African American in politics, culture, society during the 1970s? For example, many people are celebrating this week in Chicago at the Democratic National Convention because there's going to be an election this year in 2024. Just think about this. Much of the Democratic convention is going to be not only a discussion of Kamala Harris, you know, and her run for the presidency as an East Indian Black person. They're also going to be discussing the role of Jesse Jackson over the years in terms of trying to run for president and getting people organized and really trying to, in a sense, to add a more Black perspective, a foundational Black American perspective to the Democratic politics. And you also, in a sense, you also had to discuss the origin of the drug crack in the Black communities in the 1980s. Yes, people forget in a sense that it was Tethers. It was Tethers who introduced crack. Yes. It was not Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, that introduced crack to the Black community. It was people from Jamaica. And it was Jamaicans, in a sense, who introduced crack to the Black community. And they were the basic ones, in a sense, who led to a destruction of the Black community and what I call a period of amnesia. And it was during this period of amnesia that many Black people had to fall back. They had to move away from Black power because so many people were addicted to crack in the Black community. But remember, crack was not introduced by foundational Black Americans. It was introduced to Black people by Tethers, mainly people from Jamaica. The capstone of the project is that you want to write a research paper, or the students are going to make a presentation. They're going to do independent research, and they're going to present this paper for the rest of the community to see. It's very important in a sense that some of the books that are required reading include The Souls of Black Folk, Langston Hughes, The Weary Blues, Richard Wright, Native Son, Gwendolyn Brooks, For My People, and also Booker T. Washington's Up From Slavery and Marcus Garvey's Philosophy and Opinions. These books, in a sense, will help, you know, your students understand what was going on at that period of time, and they can now move forward because, see, this is one of the reasons that we like this. You can select visual aids. The best way to select visual aids that deal with various aspects of Black history is you're on my site. This is my YouTube site. My YouTube site, yes, I have over 400 videos that can that deal with various aspects of Afrocentric history. You know, again, in a sense, thank you for joining me today. And again, as I said earlier, I'm here in a sense. We're doing this. We're doing this mainly because the fact is that we want to be able, yes, we want to be able to give you information, give you ideas on how you can have a curriculum that you can teach people about our history. So again, in a sense, I hope you enjoyed this particular thing. Jess Eve, how you doing? Also, ancient spirituality. Yes. You know, it was ancient spirituality that really, in a sense, yes. I want to read what she said. I just wrote an article called Developing Black History Curriculum Since Schools Won't, which Yoshi used to make a video. Yes, that's absolutely correct. And hopefully, in a sense, some of you will try to go to Ancient Spirituality's website and look at this article. But what I tried to do is I tried to not only, in a sense, discuss, you see, you know, various aspects, but to teach you how to teach Black history. You know, I was very lucky, and the reason that I was very lucky is that when I taught at Governor State University, I taught in the education department for 10.5 years, and one of the classes that I used to like to teach, in addition to research methods, was curriculum and also school law. But again, in a sense, this has been a presentation to teach you how to create a curriculum so that you can teach other foundational Black Americans about their history, how you can also learn their history. And it's very important, in a sense, that in going through this process, that you remember is that I have some very good texts that can help you to really, in a sense, understand various aspects of the history. And these two texts that I highly recommend that you should get and that you should have in your library is the history of Blacks in America from prehistory to 1877. Again, as I told you before, this book does not just discuss Black history up to 1877. It goes all the way up to the modern period. It has lesson plans in there. It gives you curriculum ideas. And so it can help you to be able to teach it. But you also want to get the book, The Nationality and Law of Foundational Black Americans. The reason you want to get the book, The Nationality and Law of Foundational Black Americans, is because it explains, in a sense, how we developed or how we evolved from Aboriginal people to people who today we call foundational Black Americans. The key to understanding our history is to understand that our goal is to be.
The only thing that can save you is be one, be one, be one. To fight Cage, you must stay Black first.
Right. It's very important. And so again, you want to, in a sense, make sure that you explore this. And I hope, in a sense, that this short presentation can help you to see ways that you can teach this subject to your people and how you can learn more about our history and our culture, you see. Because, see, it's very important that we understand that the key to our future, the key to understanding who we are, is to understand that we must support those people. And even if you can't find the time to really go out and be supportive, still, in a sense, get these books, get these articles, learn from these books how to teach Black studies. And this curriculum guide mainly applies to teaching the history of Black people from 1900 up to the present.
If you're not going to speak up, you're the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, you're the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, you're the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, you're the ones who do. Vampires, they prey on your fears and stay away. Vampires, they prey on your fears, control your life, they feel their energy.
The only thing that can save you is be one, be one, be one. To fight Cage, you must stay black first.